Oops. Hi, Scorpio. I said that so softly. Hi, Scorpio. It be like, hi, Scorpio. Hi, Scorpio. Oh, the contrast of sounds. Okay, so how loud something is or not. And the energy behind it, right? It makes all the difference. Okay. Well, welcome to the space, Scorpio. Welcome to this Gregorian New Year. Welcome to Capricorn season. It's actually really cold and windy today, so I decided to be inside. Just me and Stanley. You want to check him out? That's what I named him. All right, so Scorpio. I chose these really beautiful cards. They're new cards. Scorpio actually gifted these to the channel. So your overall energy, I'll butcher this name, or these words, so we'll look at it as your overall energy is intuitive awareness. Can you see her? Intuitive awareness. And your overall energy for just regular cards is the Ace of Wands. Really, really magical, really beautiful. Look at this amazing castle in the background. These cards are so gorgeous. So you hold a lot of power in this situation, Scorpio. I see for most of you, there's something with the family that you are still trying to put yourself at ease about, especially when you're thinking about it, right? Actually, I guess it's the way you feel about it too. If any of you moved, I think you should think about when you moved. For some of you, it's specifically when you were a kid, right? That has something to do with this, where you're at, where you're starting here. Some of you actually could be thinking about moving closer to where your family is. You have Kazoku. Just a minute. So there's a 2-month goal and a 4-month goal, right? 2-month, 4-month, 6-month goal. When it comes to your family, I see that you should think about what those are for whatever your families are. What are your goals attached to the family? Where do you want to go? Maybe some of you want to go on a vacation, or some of you want to actually move your family or something, or maybe you as a person, depending on how old you are, you want to move closer to family or something like this. It obviously could just be like a short visit, but what 2-month, 4-month, 6-month goals? What are I feel like those should be attached to family in some kind of way. It doesn't have to be blood family for all of you. It could be soul family, right? But for most of you, it is attached to the family. I also see in relation to that, you're also healing something quite greatly. What did I mention too in your yearly reading? You already have something mentally figured out, right? Still working through the emotions of it. I think I even said something like you have it spiritually worked. You have it spiritually. It's within you. Mentally, it's within you. I think emotionally, again, it's still working out. And I sense that most of you, you have the fire element is now in your hand, right? It's in your hands to choose. Actually, the first message that I actually saw when I laid down the cards was I heard thinking about relationships again. Nine of Pentacles, Devil, Ten of Swords. Your independence is very important here. I see for most of you, I know this is we're talking to a lot of people here. But I guess we could put it in an overall sense. If you want a healthy relationship with someone, right? Two of Cups or Princess of Pentacles, you want that to grow, then you have to have faith in yourself, right? You have to have already broken out of your own chains and your own pain to grow with other people, right? There can be no question about that. And when there is no question about that, and that is where people stand, then there is no question to whether something's good or not. Right? And what's cool is most of you really are changing the way that you view love and how love is directly related to the love of, say, like another is directly related to the love that you have in yourself, right? The seeds of love that you plant in your own garden, right? Your own Eden inside of you. There's a change of consciousness in this situation. And I see that, okay, for some of you, because I sense for some of you, there is some sort of lack of faith, right? There's a piece of you that still has some sort of lack of faith in something. So maybe just sort of take note of what that is and make sure that it is your own and it's not just your family's that you're carrying, right? Or your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend or that coworker that was a dick or whatever, right? You absorbed it somehow, some way because you're sensitive, right? Because I know that you want really fair, balanced relationships with people, right? You want to be soulfully connected. You want them to grow, right? For people to feel really confident about where they're at. And relationships also, the Prince of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Star, right? Relationships that are emotionally genuine and healing. And I see that has something to do with the change of what we just talked about, has something to do with the change of consciousness also. Because there are no power struggles when people know their own faith, when they know who they are. Nine of Pentacles, right? When they know their power. Ace of Wands, right? When they have intuitive awareness, there is no question to... Because family, right? Sometimes people get, especially, let's say, in certain places, right? It's very nuclear, if you will, right? It's like, oh, this is my family. This is this, and this is that. It's like the trees are our family. The moon is our family, right? The ocean is our family. The rocks are our family, right? There's no difference in. And I know that there's some sort of awareness because I heard you're all powerful, Scorpio. And just because you loved something and now you don't, or there was love and a love exchange between something, and then for some reason that exchange stopped happening, that does not mean that you are alone. Because again, we are not alone. The stars are our family. You know, maybe there was something that you tried. It's interesting we're going backwards, but it's interesting. Maybe there was something that you tried to grow. I guess it could be happening now, or you tried to grow something, but it didn't grow. But maybe that's because someone in the situation had a lack of faith and didn't have the own intuitive awareness to be able to change themselves within their own consciousness to recognize their own confidence, their own ability, right? And stayed in their chains and with their pain. Because that's the only reason we stay in the devil, is because we don't have faith that we are free, that we can be free, right? That we're not a slave. And I know there's a lot of mental programming in the world and a lot of extension of what love is supposed to be and what family is supposed to be, and even nowadays what consciousness is supposed to be and how you're supposed to go about being an aware person and all this kind of shit. Whatever. You decide for yourself, right? And I want you to have faith in the fact of the decision. I want you to know that when you're making decisions right now, that you're not only making them for yourself, but you are also making them for the whole, for the family, right? And again, not just humans, like the trees, the rocks, the plants, everything. Stanley, you're doing it for Stanley. You know what I mean? Everybody, everything. It's so important. I want you to feel confident about that, right? We have the Two of Swords, then the little beautiful Page of Pentacles, and then the Star. Some of you are learning great lessons. Aquarius is teaching you something about how to look at something without having to see it, right? To feel something without having the result yet. Right? And I do see for most of you, you do have to have some sort of alteration. You don't have to throw away something. It's like the pants need to be hemmed, right? The shirt needs to be taken in or taken out a little bit. Whatever the situation is, there needs to be some sort of alteration within your view of what you think love is. And I see Aquarius is teaching you great lessons. Perhaps the Aquarius reading could be of service for you to help you understand more about your power. Okay? More about the way that your heart works in some kind of way, right? I also see your moon sign would be very helpful for some of you that you want to go there, or just checking that out and some tapping into that place. But that goes back to faith. It goes back to faith. I told Capricorn too, but like, love is not definable. Love is boundless, right? Like, I was just talking to my friend the other day about love, and we were discussing the fact that, like, how many people in the world, literally at this point in time, think that because they're not, like, in love with somebody, or specifically what I brought up was where say for instance, you have some sort of like sexual encounter with someone, and then that makes a relationship, right? You have sex, and then you're like, or you're attracted, and then you connect in this kind of way, and then you don't. When you don't, whether you're still in the relationship or not, whatever that energy transference is, it's like some people totally go into this like, oh my God, my world's over. What am I gonna do? Because they don't feel like they have the love, because this external thing isn't there to reinforce the love. But that's not the point of it. It's not supposed to reinforce it. It's supposed to expand it and to teach us about that the other is completely out of our control. Right? And the only thing that we really have control over is ourselves and our own, where it is that we want to go, and what it is that we want to learn about, and how we want to apply that knowledge. And I see that's another way that you can change, that's something that's tweaking in the consciousness, or that it is necessary for some of you to tweak in the consciousness, okay? I see it's very important. Again, please, where do you have lack of faith? Because wherever that is, that needs to change. Because how can you have, okay, if there's faith and then there's no faith, lack of faith just means, well, I guess if you're lacking something, you don't have it, or you don't have very much of it. But faith isn't something you can buy or see or even hold tangibly, but internally. There's no question there, Scorpio. Let's choose one more of these beautiful cards. This one. Praying. Gasho. Gasho. I think these are Japanese. I'm not sure. My Japanese is not very good. But I know in Japanese they drop the vowel at the end. Let's read this one to you. Let's read praying. Let's see. Gasho. Gasho. I know. Koniwa non desu ka? Koniwa no desu. Wait. Koniwa non desu ka? Means, what is that? I figured that would be good in case there was some weird food I ever saw. I actually used to practice that when I lived in New York City, and I'd go down to Chinatown, and I didn't know, like, I tried to teach myself, like, Cantonese or what have you, so I could ask the right questions. So, it says, Gasho card represents prayer. Yes. Prayer is spiritual energy, and prayer can heal. Prayer has power. Prayer has power to the degree it is spoken with gratitude, love, and purity. Pray in a grateful manner. Here's an example. Thank you, Creator, for my new job, for this miracle of healing, right? For my new job, for what I have in my life, for this miracle of healing, as if it's already done, right? It says, however, if your prayers are not answered in the manner in which you want, you must trust and have faith that these experiences are simply meant to be there in those times when there are lessons within the adversity to be within adversity, which helps you learn that sometimes different outcomes are necessary, right? It says we may not always understand the whys until much later. Especially emotional understanding, that can take years, right? I just had an epiphany the other day that was from an experience, somebody I dated in my early 20s. You know what I mean? It says prayers can be answered on a whisper if the right intention is attached to the prayer. Maybe for some of you, there also needs to be a change of consciousness within prayer for you. You know, maybe some of you need a bit more of a... It doesn't have to be anything specific, like, oh, you are meditating, you know, sitting in lotus position and with your, you know, with Buddha on your table and you have all the feathers and the beads and all this and rocks. And you don't necessarily need all that. You can do that anywhere, at any time. Do it in the middle of McDonald's if you want to. You know what I mean? Like there's... Because again, you're surrounded by your family, so there's no reason for you to not understand the magnetic grid that is around you that protects you, right? You have a toroidal field around you all the time. This is a magnetic grid. I saw it once too, and it's the way I saw it was like this sort of fluorescent purple color, like a lighter purple. And literally, it was like this fence, these squares, and it was on either side of the path. You can go through it if you want to. There are holes in it, right? If you want to creep into other places, but it's meant to be there to help you. And maybe for some of you, you should picture something like that, like some sort of grid or some sort of something geometrically sound, right? Let's read distance because this actually came out. It was on the bottom before, but it showed up again. It says, worry not. Worry not, Scorpio. Let's look at distance. How do you feel about distance? Where are you? Oh, it's Honsha Zishonen. Honsha. Hold on. There we go. It says Honsha Zishonen is one of the sacred Reiki symbols, healing symbols. Cool. You want to check it out? I like that little smiley face at the bottom. Cute. It says, this symbol is generally used for distance healing. Oh, fascinating. I feel like you're good at that too, right? Imparting the means to connect to other spaces and time. Facilitating the healing that is needed to release karma. Or whatever you want to call it. Release things, right? And put things back together. It can also represent resolving issues, revealing past life connections, and origins going back to other lifetimes. It's very important to keep clarity of your mind, right? The right thinking. So again, if you have lack of faith, it needs to be a little bit tweaked. Maybe you have to maybe it's on the right. It says, keep in your mind the truth of any situation, the proper course of action, and the proper course of action. You will experience positive results for all involved. It says if it's connected to the Kazoku, the family card that we had, it says, and you have it on the right, so it says the inquirer will be releasing limiting beliefs. Oh, good, that's the lack of faith. Releasing limiting beliefs and clearing karma in the near future, or assisting someone else to do the same. Awesome. Good. Very, very, very good. This says each of us has a predominant form in which we receive intuitive information. It may come through feelings, images, body sensations, or through thoughts. When one is making a decision, pay particular attention to all of these ways that your intuition communicates with you. Okay? To be effective, put aside any lack of faith, an expectation that wants to know its own answers. It says if one wants to channel pure, if one wants to be and to channel pure sources of light, then do not let your lack of faith be in the way. Worry not. Although I said that, like with the Buddhist, like the Buddha statue and your beads and all this and feathers and things, whatever it is that you're into. And of course, however you do it, again, there's no wrong way to do it. I just was mentioning that because you don't have to buy things, right? It'll come to you always. It's like when you find a feather, right? But for some of you, maybe you do need a little bit of like a smiling Buddha in your space, you know? Or actually, a little thing I just read about, maybe it could help somebody out there, but I found out there's different versions of Ganesha, right, of him. And some of them he's standing, right? That's usually good for, like, they say, like, business or, like, energy, right? He's standing up. He wants to do things. But if you want your home to be a little bit more comfortable, and remember, you can make this out of paper mache. You don't have to go buy it, whatever. You could draw it on a piece of paper and just have it, whatever. But if you have the Ganesha that's sitting, and I think the trunk goes to the right, you'll have to do more research. But there's a sitting one where he's like really happy, and it'll help your home energy be happier. Right? It'll chill out the energy some so that you can be more effective there. Okay? Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. I think for all of you too, if you know your moon sign, please dig into that. Right, and your with your sun, because those two they're two luminaries, right? They exist separately from the constellations, right? They're in their own toroidal field. All right. Thanks for being here, Scorpio. That was a cool reading. These new cards are really fun. Thanks, Doug. Oh, so cool. So cool. See, it's Capricorn season. You'll be fine. Look at that mountain. You got it. And the mountain, right? It's green. It's spring. It's growing, right? And you will succeed. You will be victorious as you climb this mountain. Really, though, thanks for being here. I've been telling everybody, but it's the 3-year anniversary of Opal Oracle, which is pretty exciting. It's cool. It's really, really cool. I love 3s. It's a good number. And really, it wouldn't exist in the way that it is if it wasn't for all of you. So especially anyone who's still here, because that means that you're really dedicated to climbing the mountain, inside of yourself. And that really does make an enormous difference, because even just having these kinds of conversations, however deep they are in the emotions and like the subconscious world or the unconscious world or wherever it is, they're important conversations to have, because this is a place where you can feel safe and loved and protected, right? Even if there's stuff again that's mentioned that's like kind of tough, it's like you're fine, it's cool, right? It's just a re-emphasis of that, right? And I love you, and you are love, and that's important to remember, and that everyone, again, what was that beautiful Scorpio reading where it's like, peace is the bridge that we all cross, right? It's amazing. Oh, speaking of threes and bridges, I guess, because there's these little bridges with the solstice as we go along in the seasons, these little mile markers. Anyone who is not aware, I made a Patreon page. The link's in the box, but feel free to check it out if you haven't gone over there. I made a 3-month forecast from Yule to Ostara, and basically the December 21st to March 21st. I put it in that way so that I think I labeled it the equinox, or the solstice to the equinox, which is still the case, but of course, depending where you are, is winter or summer. But feel free to check that out, and of course, anyone who's already gone over there, thank you. It's a cool space, and I'm excited for it, and thanks for being a part of that, and thanks for being a part of here now, and yeah, I wish you the best on this journey. Yeah, definitely, Emperor and the Queen of Swords. Yes, wish you the best on this journey, Queen of Cups and the Six of Wands. Absolutely. I want you to feel successful, Scorpio. You and yourself as a right? What is it? That part doesn't change because it's pure, Scorpio. You. That's you. That's love. See you later. Take care.